morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Global Atheist News, our weekly report on how religion has impacted humanity over the last 7 days. This week's headlines. Imran Khan asks the Pakistan government to sever ties with India over controversial remarks. Hajj-Muslim pilgrims face losing out from online booking to Mecca. An Imam is removed as the government advisor over film protests. Josh Duggar is sentenced to more than 12 years in prison for child pornography. A Florida synagogue sues over the new anti-abortion state law as a violation of Jews' religious rights. A priest left a wedding to chase down and hit a church thief with his car. Saudi authorities seize rainbow toys for promoting homosexuality. And they're at it again. Evangelical preacher calls for the death of lesbians in his church in Texas. Ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan has condemned controversial remarks made by Indian Hindu BJP leaders against the Prophet Muhammad, and he's asked the Pakistan government to sever ties with India and take a harsh position on the issue. Those BJP leaders have now been expelled. On Monday, Imran Khan strongly condemned the hateful attack by a BJP spokesperson on the Prophet and accused the Indian government of deliberately following a policy of provocation and hatred towards Muslims in India, including inciting vigilante violence against them. The ousted Prime Minister, who is also the chairman of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, made the demand on Tuesday while addressing the Lawyers' Convention in Islamabad. He said the Pakistan government should follow the Arab countries and take a strong position against the Narendra Modi government. He said the government should sever ties with India. Indian products should be boycotted. British Muslims hoping to make the pilgrimage to Mecca, which is known as the Hajj, are at risk of losing thousands of pounds after the Saudi government has enforced online booking. Pilgrims have been told to use a website to register their interest and that a draw will take place to choose who will go on the Hajj. However, some have already booked with Hajj tour operators and could lose their money. The Hajj is a religious requirement for all Muslims who can afford it. It is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, along with 5 daily prayers, fasting, charity, and a belief in God, Allah, and in Muhammad as the Prophet. The cost of the once-in-a-lifetime trip varies from about £6,000 to more than £10,000, and many Muslims spend years saving up for it. On Saturday, the UK government dismissed a Muslim cleric, Qari Azim, from his role as an official advisor, accusing him of fomenting protests against a new film about the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad. Alleging that the Lady of Heaven is blasphemous, Muslim groups protested outside UK movie houses this week, forcing the world's second largest cinema chain to cancel all screenings. Cineworld's announcement came after Qari Azim, an Imam and lawyer in the northern English city of Leeds, posted on Facebook on Monday that the film had caused much pain and hurt to Muslims. While noting that his own group had not taken part in protests and expressing support for freedom of speech, Azim publicised details of one protest in Leeds coming up that evening. In a letter to Azim, the government said the Facebook post was incompatible with his status as deputy chair of an official working group on anti-Muslim hatred. Terminating the appointment with immediate effect, the government said the campaign against the film has led to street protests which have fomented religious hatred. This clear involvement in a campaign to limit free expression is incompatible with the role of a government advisor, it added, alleging that the campaign had incited anti-Shiite hatred by Sunnis. The £12 million movie was released in the UK over the Jubilee weekend, but was axed by Cineworld and a day later by Showcase, when staff faced crowds of protesters outside venues in Bradford, Bolton, Birmingham, and Sheffield. Mr. Azim described The Lady of Heaven as a disparaging movie that has caused much pain and hurt to Muslims. But in a letter published on Saturday, the Department of Levelling Up wrote, "We have no option but to withdraw the appointment and end your roles with the government with immediate effect. Your recent support for a campaign to limit free expression, a campaign which has itself encouraged communal tensions, means it is no longer appropriate for you to continue your work with the government in roles designed to promote community harmony." Josh Duggar has been sentenced to 151 months, which is more than 12 years, in his child pornography case. On Wednesday, Judge Timothy L. Brooks handed down Josh's sentence, more than 5 months after the 34-year-old former reality star was found guilty on 2 counts of receiving and possessing child pornography. Duggar has described his family as the epitome of conservative values and advocated for what he termed family-centered and conservative Christian viewpoints, including opposition to abortion, divorce, and gay marriage. He has been referred to as an anti-gay activist by GLAAD, a pro-LGBT rights organization. One of Josh's previous charges was dropped, with agreement between both the defense and the prosecution. Judge Brooks ruled that Josh did not knowingly distribute pornography and sustained the defense's objection to the enhancement of Josh's sentence. Josh's team requested that he spend 5 years in prison, while the prosecution requested the maximum sentence of 20 years. A South Florida synagogue has filed a lawsuit that argues that the state's new abortion law will do irreparable harm to Jews and others who don't share the religious beliefs upon which the law is based. Under Jewish law, abortion is required if necessary to protect the health of a woman and for many other reasons, but it is not permitted under the new Florida state law, which therefore prohibits Jewish women from practicing their faith free of government intrusion and thus violates their privacy rights and religious freedom, the lawsuit contends. The synagogue that filed the lawsuit aims to block the enactment of the new law, which is set to go into effect on the 1st of July, and which would prohibit abortions in nearly all cases after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Under current law, Florida allows abortion until 24 weeks. The lawsuit comes a month after a leaked Supreme Court draft opinion that signals a possible decision to overturn the precedent set in Roe v. Wade the 1973 case that established the right to abortion federally. The synagogue's tactic is not a new one for abortion rights supporters who have long argued that laws limiting abortion reflect a particular Christian point of view that holds that life begins at conception and that abortion is murder. Rabbis for Repro, formed nearly 2 years ago under the umbrella of the National Council of Jewish Women, has sent Jewish clergy to Congress and to state houses to make the case that abortion restrictions limit Jewish religious freedom. And in Washington, D.C. last month, Jewish abortion rights supporters held a rally on the National Mall, with many speakers arguing that abortion is not only compatible with their faith, but sometimes required by it. A priest has been kicked out of his church after allegedly running over a thief in his car. Father Gustavo Trindade dos Santos, 37, was officiating at a wedding on Saturday in Santa Cruz do Rio Pardo in the interior of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Tatiana de Fatima and Alex Eporocido were getting married that evening. The bride-to-be was reportedly in good spirits when she first met the priest. I arrived at the church about 7:20 p.m. and also saw the priest arriving in his white car, she said. Until then, I didn't know him, but he was super attentive, laughed, joked with us before and during the ceremony. He told me to stay calm, that I was supposed to breathe, and that everything was going to be all right. He was super quiet. But things took a turn for the worst. The Daily Mail reported that after the wedding ceremony, a man named Angelo dos Santos allegedly broke into the parish house at São Sebastián Church and stole 3 hoodies and a t-shirt before fleeing from the scene. The priest reportedly took matters into his own hands, getting behind the wheel of his white car in pursuit of the thief. Video surveillance called Father Trindade veering his vehicle and slamming into Angelo dos Santos before going into reverse and driving away. Father Trindade then went into hiding for 2 days before turning himself in on Wednesday and appearing before a judge at the Santa Cruz do Rio Pardo courthouse with 2 lawyers by his side. The priest's charges included attempted murder and a failure to provide assistance for the alleged hit and run. Charges of theft were made against Dos Santos. See this video. Authorities in Saudi Arabia have been seizing rainbow-colored toys and children's clothing, which they claim encourages homosexuality. An El Ekbariya report shows Commerce Ministry officials removing a range of items from shops in the capital, Riyadh. They include hair clips, pop-ups, T-shirts, hats, and pencil cases. One official said the items contradict the Islamic faith and public morals and promote homosexual colours targeting the younger generation. The Commerce Ministry tweeted separately that its teams were confiscating products that contain symbols and signs calling for deviation and contradicting common sense. Shops found to be selling them would face legal penalties. See this video.
أثناء جولة التفتيشية رصدنا عدد من المخالفات ما في الآداب العامة اللي هي مثل منتجات زي هذه بشكل صريح الشكل الداخلي، أيضا هذه نشوفها إيحاء من الشكل الخارجي.
Brother Tanner Furr of the Steadfast Baptist Church in Hurst, Texas, called for death to lesbians during a sermon this week, saying that getting a bullet in their head is too nice. See this video.
They're sick and gross because the Bible says so. Because they've been given over to a reprobate mind. Their conscience has been seared. And not just the male also the women too. Right? All the lesbos, all the dykes, all these butch dykes out there, they deserve the death penalty too. It should be a crime and they should be punished with death by the government. You know, and quite honestly, putting a bullet in their head is too nice. You know, the Bible said to stone them with stones. That's a little bit harsher of a punishment. You know, that punishment lasts a little bit longer than a bullet straight to the head. That's the easy way out, honestly. You know, when you're receiving a few stones to the head and to the body, you're going to feel that pain for a little while, right? And you know, I also like it is God is using His own creation to stone them or to kill them, right? You know, if they're found guilty of sodomy, the government, a righteous government, would put them to death by that means.
Following last week's very enjoyable show with Professor Blay Whitby on ethics, do watch that if you can. This week's Free Thought Hour guest is Dr. Wendy Bowen, who studies earthquakes and other rapid onset geologic hazards. She's an ambassador for the American Association for the Advancement of Science and a leader for the 500 Women Scientists Board. She also blogs at Twinning at Motherhood. It's live right here in a few minutes, and you can join in by texting your comments and questions. Don't forget to watch Global Atheist News Review, our spin-off show, when a panel of opinionated people get a chance to express their views on the news. The GAN team will be back with our weekly news report next week. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and set the notifications. This has been Global Atheist News. Thank you for watching.